some people are low maintenance. I am high maintenance. This is a weird thing. I maybe have never thought about my funeral before this moment. This is a real existential crisis you've given me.
I do
Um,
apologize.
the to still be here and doing this and releasing songs that have significant impact on people. I can't think of a more significant gift.
Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound, back with another episode of the 7 of 30 podcast. It's the only interview show where I don't know what questions I'm going to be asking the guests. And what a guest we have today, Black Veil Bride's brand new single Certainty is out now. They're going to be back in the UK for download later this year. I'm delighted to say that Mr. Andy Biersack joins us on the line right now. How are you, Andy?
It's been too long, man. We
It really has,
normally
man.
I like for us to talk every couple months at the very least, and it's been way too long. So long that as we discussed before we started, you I'm in a different house than the last time we
I know,
talked.
look at
So
this. Your
that's it's too
background was
long.
shiny new background was confusing me, but I like it. I like the vibes, like the discs in the
It's way
back
too
as
long.
well.
Well, that's for my own ego, but that's I'd like to be reminded. Oh, that's right.
Hey, if you've got them, they've got to go on a wall somewhere, man. They've got to
Of
be
course,
shown
of
off.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't keep them in a cupboard. Can't keep them in a cupboard, dude. Hey, since the last time we talked, something I want to start off with straight away. Last time I got to watch you on stage, at least, Warp Tour, man. Good to see you guys
Yeah.
back live in Orlando there. That's got to have been such a nice experience getting to do a couple of those last year, now that it's obviously very different and on a real grand scale, and fair
Mhm.
play to the team for putting it together. But God, it felt so nice to be getting back there, seeing that logo again, all that stuff.
Oh man, I've said to you before, it's so singularly important to me as a thing, Warped Tour. So those two shows were just so much fun. I realized I was supposed to talk to you then, but the second one we did was in Orlando, and I drove to the gig, and I really I remember my tour manager being like, "You got to leave real early, traffic, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Ah, it's fine." And then I ended up in a position where we had to cancel all press, had to like rush to the stage. Everything was a, five alarm fire. So I was incorrect in my assessment at the time. But in any event, what a way to end a year for
Mm.
us. What a great end to what it was kind of an odd year for us in that we made a record, but then we played less than I think like 25 shows in the whole year. So it was cool to have those two shows as kind of the bookends to what was otherwise a year about making new stuff.
Yeah, no, an exciting time to be making new stuff. Obviously, at the time of recording here, Certainty, the single was kind of just dropped there.
Yeah.
Very cool vibe on it, and kind of a different feel. I don't want to use phrases like more mature and all these kind of things, but it does feel like it's grown up Black Veil Brides here, man. It's very slick, is maybe a word I would use. I really like the vibe of it, but I mean, is that indicative of kind of where you've gone with the record? Is it more playing in that kind of sound?
Yeah, I think, there's like kind of two things. One is obviously we've been around for a while and we've been making music together for a long time. So we've always been a band that we don't like to make the same record twice.
Mhm.
And I think we had gotten to a place where we none of us were really all that excited about the idea of making a grand sort of sing-along rock opera right now. At least, and for me creatively, that really wasn't where my head was at in terms of writing. So everything, at least on a narrative level, was skewing much more, for lack of a better term, darker or serious or whatever. And so I think the music just sort of it was birthed from the same perspective. The fact that the record is we didn't want to make a record that was, hey, now we're going to make the heavy record. It was what we're trying to build here and what my ideas are in terms of the narrative, along with what Jake is writing from a musical perspective, uh, was really kind of going hand in hand with each other. And so I think the record is heavy because it has to be for it to make sense with the narrative. And I also think it's not I think it's a really solid record in the perspective that we weren't trying to go, every song is the screamy song, every song is the whatever. I think that, when people hear the whole album, I think that the heavy moments are what are purposeful, and there are moments of um, what you might call more traditional Black Veil Brides. But I would say overall, the record is much more aggressive than previous
Mm.
albums.
Interesting, man. No, it's great to hear, and especially when you're on such great live form. Genuinely, I think that was a really, again, slick. I'll use that word. It was a very, very slick show, and I got to see you in Orlando there. And looking forward to, of course, seeing you back here in the UK very, very soon because you're coming back to Donington again. Talk about festivals that mean something to you. I know you know as well as I do how special that place is, not just as a festival, but the history of the place in itself.
Of
Gotta just be a
course.
delight to always see that one coming up in the festival calendar, right?
Like Warped Tour, I would say it was the same sort of thing for us in your guys' part of the world that Warped Tour was for us in the US,
Mm.
where so many people who ended up becoming fans of the band, especially in our early days, did so by virtue of seeing us at that festival. You know, we were very lucky that Andy took a shine to us early and put us on really cool slots and great stage times and everything else, and we had a lot of exposure. Now with that came the bottling and the anger and all of that in the early days. But that exposure is what kind of put us in a position where people really knew who we were. So when Set the World on Fire came out 15 years ago, weirdly,
Wow.
there was already kind of a built-in fervor for what we were doing. And I think a lot of that is down to being on stage at Download and people kind of seeing who we were.
Yeah, what a brilliant platform for you guys it's been over the years. So nice to see that fan base kind of keep coming back and keep growing as a result of that festival in a lot of ways. It's very, very cool to see
Yeah.
you guys always moving up the ranks there. One more thing before we get into your 7 of 30, I do want to mention, of course, you had that collab recently with TX2, which is interesting. He's been working with kind of wide variety of people, really. Did the Iceland Kills track. I know there's a track with
Mhm.
Magnolia Park as well, just coming out. You've spoken a fair bit, but it feels like you almost see a little bit of your younger self there. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it definitely feels
Yeah.
like putting your arm around the shoulder a bit, maybe passing on a few lessons from the early days. I mean, what was that experience like for you?
Well, it's funny that the segue out of the download talk because that was a conversation that I had with Evan pretty early on is they're doing download this year and he was seeing people saying, "Oh, you're going to get bottled," and I was kind of explaining to him what that means and how that goes for most people. So, I'm someone that I wouldn't say that I am detached from what's happening with music so much as I'm just not particularly interested in a lot of what's happening with music. And so for me to get engaged a lot of times comes from something like that, where, initially I found out about him because I saw people saying, "Oh, you're not Andy Biersack, blah, blah, blah," and kind of using my name as a means of making fun of him, which could not be more antithetical to the way that I feel. And it's sort of obviously ironic because that was "Oh, you're not Nikki Sixx or you're not,
Right.
Davey Havoc or whoever else." And so I kind of put out something just saying like, I don't really like, don't, the Will Smith, keep my name out of your mouth.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like being used as this sort of cudgel to make fun of somebody.
Mm,
And so uh, that was the impetus for me kind of getting to know him as an artist and him and Cam as a band or whatever. And then really I didn't know much about them beyond the fact that they had reached out about doing a song. And I'm very sort of picky. I usually don't do features because I don't really want to sing on something that I think sucks. And I often don't really like the music that people send over. It's not really my vibe.
yeah.
And so I remember hearing the song and I go, well, let me hear the song because I like what I've seen from him as a person, and I like that he's kind of incendiary. Let me hear the song. And he sent the song, and Juliet and I listened to it, and we were like, this sounds like the Deer Hunter or something. Like, like this is like kind of old school shoegazy early 2000s emo, and I was just blown away by it. I did not expect, I don't mean to say, I don't mean this in any kind of way that's derogatory. I did not expect that tonally from what I was going to hear. And so when I heard the song, I was so excited to be able to sing on it, put my little spin on it here and there. We got it recorded, and I still didn't really spend a lot of time with him until the day of the video shoot, and I was just so impressed. They came down, him and Cam came down here to Tampa, and I was so impressed by the professionalism and the planning and the intricacy. And so we took Juliet and I took them to lunch, and I just got to really know them, and I was again just so impressed by the care and the sincerity. A lot of times people care a lot about becoming famous, but they don't necessarily care about the message and their audience.
Mm.
And I was impressed by his methodical nature, but also impressed by what I felt was sincere caring about the message and his audience.
Interesting, man. Yeah, it's nice as well when you've been there, done that, and being able to kind of, shepherd a new generation a little bit. I think it's nice you've got to that point in your career as well, where you are able to pass on advice because you've kind of sat where he's sat a little bit at this point.
Sure. It's a unique thing. Not a lot of, he has a unique trajectory of being very young and being reviled and being probably too young to um, deal with that. And as I was. And so you do it in different ways. And I've just been very impressed by how he copes with that. Remember, I was the guy who was starting fights every show and, throwing things at people and whatever else. Like I didn't cope with it particularly well. And I'm very impressed by the way that he's dealing with it.
Yeah, fair play, man. No, fair play. Nice to see that kind of generation carry on right there. Festival season is fast approaching, and the team at Danny Women Presents have put together some incredible lineups for their first key events of the year. Welcome to Rockville kicks off May 7th at Daytona International Speedway in Florida. Guns N' Roses, Foo Fighters, Bring Me the Horizon, and My Chemical Romance right at the top of that bill, alongside a huge list of names across 5 stages and 4 days. And over in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to the 17th, Sonic Temple Festival will take over with My Chem, Shinedown, Bring Me the Horizon, and Tool, plus the likes of Pierce the Veil, Good, Charlotte, Motionless in White, The Offspring, Megadeth, Electric Callboy, Simple Plan, and so many more. Tickets are available now. Guys, I can tell you, if you're traveling from the UK, it is more than worth the trip for these amazing mega US festivals. So get your tickets now and check out more info via DannyWimmerPresents.com. Let's dive into your 7 of 30 then, man. So like I say, I think we did this with you back in the day in kind of more quickfire format. Same basic idea. Got 30 questions in front of me. I just want you to pick 7 numbers between 1 and 30. That's going to be the interview. So when you're ready, give me 7 numbers between 1 and 30, please.
Dude, 26.
26. Okay, next up.
Uh, 2.
2. Okay.
And then 12.
12.
How many
Next
more
one.
numbers do I have to pick?
4 more, please.
Okay. 9.
9. Okay, next up.
Yeah. 1,
1. Uh-huh.
3.
3. And
Yeah.
one more, please.
8.
8. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 12, and 26. Do you want to go big number to small number or small number to big?
Dealer's choice.
Oh, okay. Let's go big number to small number. Let's work our way back.
All
Let's do
right.
it. All right, let's
All
kick
right.
off then with question number 26, which is who is the most influential person in your life? Now, I guess we could go musically or we could go a little deeper, however you want to interpret that.
Wow, that's very difficult.
Hmm.
I'm an only child. It's well documented that I've spent a lot of time with my parents. Really nobody more influential in my experience than my parents. Anybody who's watched the documentary that we just put out knows that I have a very close relationship with them. So I would say that my parents beyond anybody.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, it's nice that, I mean, I'm sure it's not always been easy, but it's always great when you see a parental relationship like that where, I mean, you've been able to go out and follow your dreams from a very, very young age. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't an easy road in a lot of ways, but to able to have a family unit at this stage in your career where things are more stable, that's got to be such a gift, man, to have some kind of support behind you there.
Yeah, I mean, they always believed in me. My parents never once didn't think this was going to happen for me, which I know is a very unique situation.
That's amazing, though. Yeah, it's so nice to have that support. And then I guess again, if we interpret that a little bit musically, I mean, we've talked about this before, but I just love the fact that you've had the opportunity now to not only meet, I think, most of your heroes, but also work with a few of them as well. I mean, that's
No,
that's never
100%.
going
Yeah.
to get old. I mean, what a joy and a pleasure. I mean, I guess is there anyone that is still on the list there for you? I mean, you've worked with Skiba, you've worked with the MyChem dudes. I mean, like who else is about?
Yeah. Oh, I guess we have actually talked about this before when we
Oh,
were
that's
when we were
true.
young. That I would probably be Jim,
Mm.
Jimmy World.
Loveliest man in the industry and maybe the best dressed. I'm going to say it. He's always looking
All
suave,
right.
that man. Yeah, that would be a good one. I would love to see that. All right, next up then, question number 12. What was the proudest day of your life?
I would say my wedding.
Hmm.
Um, pretty singularly. Juliet and I had been through a lot at that point, and once we got to the point of our wedding in 2016, which is now coming up on 10 years ago,
Wow, congrats,
uh,
man.
it was the culmination of the ups, the downs, and just the unabashed love that we have for each other. And it really represented a complete the start of our life in so many ways. Even though we had been together for a number of years before that, that was really the start of our life together in so many ways. And has led to the point that we're at now, where, I don't, you say who are the people that are most inspirational. I would say that maybe, obviously, my parents are number one, but uh, from the beginning, I mean, really, Set the World on Fire is the last record that I made that didn't have some influence of Juliet on, because we live together, and I want to impress her. And so, it pushes me as a writer, and it's a huge element of things. So that I would say that.
Yeah, what's lovely about that with you guys is that as well, I think that as an artist, Juliet and whether it's under the Lilith moniker or whatever we want to do, like she's what Will Gould once referred to you as a world builder. I would call her a world builder as well. You are
Mhm. Of
very much both in
course.
that idea that you want to just it's never just about the music for either of you, and that's got to be so nice to have a fellow creative in the house there who gets that. And it's not just about the
Yeah.
music, you want to build an entire thing around each project.
Well, we have a lot of fun together doing that stuff too. Like we just did the Lilith Czar Edge of Madness video. And she spearheads this stuff creatively, and it's fun to be able to do guerrilla style filmmaking in that way. And I got to do the Joker makeup, and when we did the popsicle stuff, I got to, I taught myself how to do the prosthetic makeup. And so she has these grand ideas, and it's fun to be able to push them. And similarly, I when we're putting together records or whatever else, I have this sort of large scale ideas that it's nice to be able to have your partner that can help you make them happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're going to call anyone up to do some kind of makeup related to a Batman villain, I think we're going to get you on the phone, aren't we? I mean, come on.
Think so,
There's the expert right
although,
there.
the rate will be a little bit different for anybody else that were
That's
to
fair.
call me
That's
up.
more than
Yeah.
fair. You got to get paid, man. You got to get paid. Put the value in there.
Yeah.
Question number nine. This is the great thing about 7 of 30. We just go from something nice like that to something so stupid, but equally, I
Okay.
want the answer. All right. Number nine. What makes up the perfect breakfast, Andy? Define it for me. What is the perfect breakfast?
I'm not a food for breakfast guy. I drink
Mm,
my breakfast. So
okay.
I have a very intense and time consuming shake that I make in the mornings, full of vitamins and minerals and, some things that are pretty ungodly in terms of taste that I have to sort of hide with other things. So I have what you would call my morning coffee is like a thing this big with about 12 different powders in it, and then cold brew coffee that's blended, and then like some sort of flavored creamer to get me through it.
Man, that is intense. That is intense right there. But fair play to you. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
that's got to be the tough one where I imagine that's very easy to put together at home. On tour, how are you getting on with that? Like, is
I
it a
have
very
to do it.
different
I
thing?
bring all
You
my
got to do it.
shit. I
Wow.
have a hand blender. I have all my amino acids. I have all my proteins. I'm the kind of personality that I'm very obsessive about things that I'm into. And so maybe that's part of the world building thing. But when I put my mind to, okay, I'm going to get healthy and I'm going to change the parts of myself that need to be changed physically, because I had a lot of injuries when I was younger, and so I never rehabbed them. I never did anything for them. So I had all this scar tissue and stuff in my back, and so I hit a point where it became clear that I needed to start doing resistance training and working out regularly. And so part of that is all the amino acids and all the things to help with the injuries. So now it's like I have to do it no matter what.
Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. And beyond that as well, I'm always curious to ask about kind of tour catering, festival catering. How do you get on with that? Because you guys are now at a nice point where you're doing very decent sized rooms, you're doing very decent sorts of festivals. I imagine the catering is much better now than it was perhaps in the early days. How you
I've
get on with
never
that
been
these
much of a
days?
catering eater though. Again,
Wow.
I'm also like I'm such a giant bitch in every conceivable way. Our production assistant Chevy has to find my specific foods every day. Like I'm a nightmare. So yeah, some people are low maintenance. I am high maintenance.
Hey, look, if that's the biggest demand on tour these days, is you need the right
Yeah.
shakes and all that stuff in the morning, it could be
Yeah.
a lot worse, man. That's fair
Some
play.
people go with the flow. I freak out until the flow goes with me.
Yeah, Yeah, that's one way of doing it. That's one way of
Yeah.
looking
I
at it
have
these ways.
anxiety attacks until the flow is going in the direction that I need it to go in.
We adjust to your flow. That's how we will make it
Yeah.
work on tour. That's all good. Next up, let's do question number 8 then. What is the greatest gift you have ever been given?
This this opportunity. We make the joke about me sitting in this room full of shiny plaques.
Mm.
That this, that I can't think of a more significant gift.
Mm.
I believed it was going to happen. I work my ass off every day still to work on this dream, but people have to agree to let you do it. People have to go, yeah, go ahead. And then that means that people will help it financially. People will help it for years on end. Here we are. I said earlier, it's 15 years since Set the World on Fire came out this summer. To still be here and doing this and releasing songs that have significant impact on people and upcoming headlining tours and all this stuff, that is the gift.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting you reference it as a gift because you're absolutely right. Of course, it's going to take a million things to get to the position you're in. But as you say, you worked fucking hard to get there, man. It's like no one's handed it to you on a plate. But like, I imagine the gift aspect is the people you met along the way that really did give you a chance. Obviously, we've talked a bit about this before, and it's very much in your book and all that stuff. But like, who were the people in those early days that you think really did help gift you that opportunity to kind of get to where you are?
The fans, by far and away the audience, because I talk about this a lot, and it sounds more sort of salty than it means to sound, but throughout the course of our career, every year there's a new band that everybody is supposed to like, and it's never been us. Do you know what I mean? Every time we release a song, there is an element of people who go, "Oh wow, I can't believe they've done something good." Doesn't matter how many years or how many records we've sold or whatever else. The comment you can go check out Certainty, and there is a surprise every time. It's, "Oh my God, I can't believe that they do a good thing." And that continues on and on. So if that is the operating basis where we've never been the darlings of the media conversation, to be able to have an audience after all these years that have sort of said fuck that and pushed us forward and allowed us these opportunities, there are tangible moments where you go, I know that this place doesn't know what we are. I know that this festival or I know that this whatever doesn't have the perspective on what's about to happen. And then we go out on stage and all the people are there and everything's fucking giant and awesome. And it's because of the audience, not because anybody else necessarily believed. Now, having said that, there are people who have been there since the beginning. Our manager, Blasco, I pushed my broken down car to his office when I was 17, 18 years old and met him. We had, went to some brunch spot or whatever. And I've spoken to him on the phone at the very least every single day since then. And we've worked on this thing together for this many years. That's somebody who has always been with us. There's people like Richard Villa, who's done our artwork for so many years, who gave us our first chance to play a show in Los Angeles. He let us play in the parking lot of the art gallery and skate shop they worked at. Those types of people who have stuck with us, but by far and away, it's the fans who have given us the chance.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, that community is still going strong. It's so nice to see it keep growing and keep developing as well after all these years. So, so great. Let's do question number 3 then next. What was your best memory of school, Andy?
Leaving it when it was over. Sometimes I
There we
drive
go.
by schools and I go, haha, not for me, never again. I
Man,
get a rush of joy that comes over me when I'm sitting at a stoplight near a school and I realize that that's not anything I ever have to do again.
that's absolutely fair. It's interesting to me as well that like because that's the one thing I don't think we ever talked about actually. In your high school days, would you categorize yourself as a theater kid? Because I know obviously you love things like Phantom, you love Sweeney, obviously, given the references recently. Did you categorize yourself as that? Was that ever a community you found yourself part of?
Um, I would love to have. I think I was the kind of the ultimate fringe person in that I didn't even really fit into that group.
Yeah.
Like when I went to performing arts school briefly, there was only really one person who took a shine to me, which was the head of the drama department, David Roth, who I've credited a lot as somebody who was like an early believer. But no one else in the certainly no one in the musical theater department. I couldn't even get cast in a show at the School for Creative Performing Arts. I remember desperately wanting to be in any musical, and they were putting up Seussical that year. And the only role I could get was as the guy who dressed as Dr. Seuss at the ticket box to help people who buy tickets to get into the show. Like that's how far removed from the show I was. So I think even the theater kids didn't really think I was shit.
Man.
So I hate to paint myself as such a fucking loner, but I didn't assimilate well to anything.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. We can live out those High School Musical dreams now through Bleeders, but yeah, we need to get you in a
Well, actually,
production,
that's
man.
the case. I remember talking to the head of the musical theater department at SCPA, who now claimed me as a notable alum, even though I was kicked out of the school and did not graduate. Um, the I remember talking to her and saying like I would love to do anything I could, and I think I said like, would you guys ever do Sweeney Todd? And I think she was like, well, yeah, if we ever do Sweeney Todd, then maybe you'll get a chance. And they never did, but that I just did it for myself.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
wish casting myself.
Which cast we got to get you in a proper production, man. I'd love to see. I want a dream cast like people from the sea. I want to get Will Gould in there. I want you as Sweeney. I want Will as the judge, and I want that duet. That's what I want to see
I
happen.
would do anything with Will. We were talking about it the other day. We were sending each other pictures of when we were, because we're about the same age, and
Hmm.
it's so funny to think that we're so the same person in so many
Yeah, you really
ways,
are.
and we grew up so far away from each other. Like even
Hmm.
our photos from our childhood were wearing the same clothes and like exact. And I was saying, how funny is it how many other like card carrying AFI fan club members in like 2002 were also listening to Bat Out of Hell religiously on their Walkman? Like
Yeah.
that we must have been some of the only people that fit that category.
Somehow connected across the Atlantic. It's absolutely
Yeah.
wild. So funny, man. So funny. Two more to go. Leads us on to question number two. What do you want to do when you retire? Now, let's be honest, you're never going to retire, but in theory, what would you do if you decided to finally hang up the microphone?
I've always thought that I really enjoy being on the other side of things. I sincerely enjoy like when I've directed our music videos. I sincerely enjoy the when we just produced this record, Jake and I. Like I really like being on the other side. I don't always feel the need to have to be the one in front of the camera, especially the longer I do this, the more I find joy being on the other side of things. So I think I would like to be able to lean into that side more and do more producing and more sort of behind the camera work and all that kind of stuff. And I've been able to do more writing recently. And obviously we launched our publishing company. So
Mhm.
I think all that kind of stuff, the things that don't require me to wear really tight pants and leather jackets all the time as I get older, I think would be probably where I had more. But I'm somebody that I don't really I don't look at things like, oh, and now I'm done and I'm going to move on to the next chapter. I just think at some point I'll probably prioritize not being the quote unquote star, but not right now. The ego's still too strong for that.
Still got legs in you, man. Still carrying on.
Yeah.
I mean, you say behind the camera as well. I want to briefly say, in front of the camera still. I mean, you've done a bit of acting work. There was rumors, wasn't there, of American Satan kind of sequel or something more in that Paradise City
Yeah, I
world.
saw they posted that. I was never consulted about any of it, so
Okay.
who knows? And I never heard about it again, so we'll see. Maybe I got recast.
I
Who
mean, I
knows?
hear it was
Uh,
early development, I believe. I think it was maybe one of those where like we're writing a script, and then that thing where it
Well,
gets
the
gets in the
images that
news.
were posted were certainly me, down to my tattoos. So, if they did in fact recast me, the plan is to do it very accurate. No, I don't know anything about it. I've had some film offers here and there over the last couple of years, but mostly it hasn't made sense with the schedule.
Hmm.
The band we typically tour so much, and that is really my primary function. So, if something like that comes along, it's going to have to be something that is significant and that I find would be a value for me artistically. I mean, honestly, obviously, a value for me career wise, um, and not just something that I'm doing so that I can cosplay as an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Something you're actually passionate about. That makes perfect sense.
No.
Yeah, especially if you're going to dedicate that time to it. We'll do some quick fires to finish in a second, but first, your final question in your 7:30 is question number one. What song do you want played at your funeral? Nice and morbid to finish this one.
Uh, I guess because I grew up Catholic, I've always just pictured a traditional Catholic funeral, which doesn't really make any sense because I'm not practicing. I'm not even sure that they would allow for that. And I don't know where it would be. presumably say I die an old man, no one else in my family is practicing Catholic anymore. So I'm not even sure. This is a weird thing. I maybe have never thought about my funeral before this moment.
Here we go.
Uh, this is a real existential crisis you've given me.
I do
Um,
apologize.
in my mind, I just picture funerals because in my family, every funeral that I've ever been to thus far has been a traditional Catholic mass. So, the kind of crazy uh organ and the frankincense and myrrh and the Latin and everything. I guess that's what I picture.
Hey, listen, I am someone who has many criticisms of organized religion in many ways, just to, give you a little personal viewpoint. But I will say this, some of that music is absolutely banging, man. I mean, some of that religious music, it's powerful. It really, really is. And, I always find that, especially, sad occasions like that, it's impossible not to be moved when you hear that kind of choral setting or whatever it is. It's some really, really gorgeous music in there.
It's absolutely, but it's also the intensity of a Catholic funeral in terms of the pageantry and the costumes and the smoke and everything else. I have kind of I mean, it's morbidly funny in a sense, but um, my grandfather died pretty early on in me and Juliet dating, and we flew back to Cincinnati. This was within the first year of us being together, and obviously she didn't grow up Catholic, and it never occurred to me because I was also 21 years old or whatever. It never occurred to me that someone would not have experienced what a Catholic mass is.
Right.
So I never at any point mentioned, by the way, we're going to the most extra thing you've ever experienced in your whole life.
Yeah.
So I remember being at the funeral and kind of looking over at her, and then all at once realizing that this was her first experience with Catholicism. Was a guy swinging a rope with smoke coming out of it, and there's capes, and incredibly aggressive Stations of the Cross are painted across the walls. There's a statue of a bleeding guy. So that was kind of a funny thing.
That is an intense introduction to that world for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Ozzy Osbourne for president, Ozzy Osbourne forever. Get all of your Ozzy and Black Sabbath merch at shop.rocksound.tv.
All right. Well, that is your 7 of 30. We like to finish these with 7 questions that we ask everybody who does this. All right. So those were the ones you
Okay.
picked. These are the same 7 we ask absolutely everybody. So, first up, name one song that will always make you cry.
Father and son, Cat Stevens. I don't have that kind of relationship with my dad. My dad and I have a great relationship, but it could be watching Guardians of the Galaxy. It doesn't matter where that song plays in. I remember sitting with my mom when I was little and her explaining what she took away from the lyrics to me, and I thought that that was so profound that I think of that moment of sitting with my mom and her talking to me about lyrics, and it makes me cry every time I hear that song.
It's a beautiful song, man. It really, really is. Absolutely gorgeous song, that. What 2 items can you never leave the house without? Don't say phone.
Uh, I'm on 0% with this because I'm trying to quit nicotine, which has actually made it even worse because I'm now more dependent on this fake vape. Because I think the more that I use it, maybe some nicotine will come out, even though there's no nicotine in it. So certainly that. Uh, and then AirPods. For whatever reason, I never use them, but I feel like I always need to have them with me when I leave the house.
Yeah, just in case you want to listen to something. I get that. Give me 3 tips for attending a festival, please.
Water. Water's number one. People drink so little water
Hmm.
and they're standing there all day. And then by the time you get to the evening, people are just passing out. Drink water early and often. Obviously, the prerequisite that most people have is the SPF thing, right? Like that's a good idea. Um, I would bring like a little bag with snacks and stuff because if you're allowed to have them in, I don't know, sometimes you can't get them in, but if you can bring like protein bars or things that will help you throughout the course of your day, I think that would be good.
That's a very smart one, actually. We've not had the snacks one before, I don't think, and that is dead on. Yeah, very, very important through the day. Pick 4 people, dead or alive, to invite to a dream party.
Penn Jillette, George Carlin. Um, I've never met Dan Andriano.
Mm.
So we got Penn Jillette, George Carlin, Dan Andriano. Uh, how many people?
4, just one more.
Let's go. let's go Paul Stanley.
Man, that is a mix right there. I can see
Sure.
conversation flowing right there. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that mix actually is me.
It kind of is,
Like
yeah.
that is all the things that I am
Yeah.
in various other people.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. Yeah, every side of your personality thrown in there. I like that a lot. Similarly, then, how would you describe yourself in just 5 words, Andy?
I had a guitar player in Andy Black once describe me as, and I can't remember what it was. Uh, I think it was one word, and it made me laugh. It was just specific.
So
So
we
I'll just
could
go
just
with that
boil the
one. Yeah,
five down
yeah,
to the one
yeah.
specific.
Specific. Yeah,
I'll take that answer. That works all day
yeah.
for me. That's great. Well, similarly, it may be exactly the same. How would your friends describe you in 6 words? Or bandmates, I suppose, as well.
I have like four friends.
Mhm.
Uh, Probably less. As the years go by, less friends. Um, and so I would say my friends would describe me as aloof and not often around.
Aloof and not often around, and then specific we'll
Yeah,
throw at the end as well.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. I
yeah.
like that. All right, last question for you. I love this question. You might have seen this. We ask everybody this in every interview now. So this is called the 7 song set list, right? So let's
Okay.
pretend Black Veil can only play exactly the same 7 songs every show for the rest of your career. What are
Yeah.
the 7 songs that have to make the cut for you?
Uh, I really like, we started opening the set with Knives and Pens this year, and I really like doing
Mm.
it that way. I've been singing that song really every show since I was 17 years old, so it is not for my own benefit that we perform that song. But it needs to be performed.
Yeah.
And so I like opening with it. I think it gives it a good energy.
Mm.
So that one. So I'm going to try to go through in order. I really like that one. I really love the set list that we've been doing at festivals this year, honestly, and that's about 7 songs. Uh, so I would say I'd have to add, all right, so we'll go Knives and Pens.
Mhm.
We'll go Bleeders. I really like playing that song. Um, we'll go Lost It All. Uh, Obviously in the end, this is not an order.
Yeah,
Obviously in the end, um, boy, I'm trying to think. People are going to be very mad if I leave some of these out.
yeah.
Um, I can't. I mean, it's such recency bias, but I'm loving playing Hallelujah. It's one of my favorite
Oh,
songs
great.
to do live. So,
Nice.
Hallelujah. I don't know. We've never played Certainty live yet, so I can't comment on that. What do we got? 2 songs
Yeah,
left.
2 more, 2 more.
I like Rebel Love Song live a lot. That's a fun one. And I like The Legacy a lot live.
Oh, that's a good mix in there, man. That's a very good mix. Nice to see Hallelujah, how well that's going down actually as well in the live set. I agree with you there. It's cool. It's nice, nice to be able to throw that one in there. And yes, Bleeders had to be in there. That was my top choice. So well done for including that.
Yeah.
There you go. All good. That's it, man. Andy, it's always an absolute pleasure to chat to you, man. Congratulations on the new music. We're so looking forward to the next record and all that stuff. And of course, we will see you over here in June for download, if not before, man. But take care of yourself till then, all right?
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Good to see you. All right, Andy Biersack, everybody.